Hey guys, it's Fire with more Smash Talk. In this video, we're talking about the possibility for DLC in the next Smash Bros. Game. Once again, a lot of you guys had a lot of opinions, so once I'm done talking, I'll keep the video rolling so you can check out the comments. Alright, let's get started. So for a lot of users out there, Smash Bros. DLC in some form would make perfect sense. Since Smash Bros. Is a game that only comes out every 6 or 7 years, adding any type of new content could extend the game's replayability by a pretty good amount. Although Nintendo isn't really known for including DLC, and if you take into consideration that Smash Bros. Is one of the most widely played games out there, this could potentially make or break the game. The biggest concern came with the idea that Nintendo might release an incomplete game, and then complete it with DLC. If you don't know what that means, basically it means that the developers would intentionally leave parts of the game out, so you can buy them at a later date. Although Nintendo President Satoru Iwata has openly said that the company will never release a game like that, let alone a Smash Bros. Game. So if there is going to be DLC, it's probably going to be seen as an afterthought. So now the question becomes, what kind of DLC will they include? First, there's the thought of user DLC. In Brawl, every time you went online, you received a new user-made stage and screenshot. To be honest though, I never really cared for these stages, and after a month or so, I stopped checking. User DLC is nice, but only if you give the user something proper to work with. Be sure to check out my character customization video to see what kind of things users are capable of. So if it's not user-made DLC, then it would have to be stuff that was made directly by the developers. Stuff like new costumes and officially made stages. Another thing that people suggested is adding new challenges to the challenge mode, or maybe adding parts to the single player to extend the story. In most ways, this would just add to the game's experience without really taking away from it. A lot of people said that new characters should be included too, but that's when things get a little shaky. You could argue that characters are the lifeblood of the Smash Bros. Series, so just randomly adding characters without a good reason might put off a lot of people. I'm all for having a wide variety of characters, but having, say, 35 characters on the disc and then 10 DLC characters is a bit too much for me. And then there's the thought of patches, which at this point is essential for any fighting game. The thing that patches do is give minor tweaks to characters so they won't be underpowered or overpowered. To most people, they probably wouldn't even notice it, but for competitive play, that would be amazing. So what would be the most agreed upon way to go about DLC? Easy. Make it free. Or at least really cheap. To a lot of people, DLC will always be seen as something that takes away from the game or something that adds on to it. So simply giving us the ability to choose is more than enough to get DLC to work. Making DLC free or super cheap is great because the gamers get new stuff to play with and Nintendo makes a little bit of money on the side. As long as it doesn't get to the point where DLC becomes so integrated that becomes a required part of the game, I'm all for it. I don't want to go too far into this since E3 is right around the corner, but we'll see what happens then. I wasn't planning on doing this, but let's include a question. In terms of Smash Bros. 4, what do you expect to see from Nintendo's E3 announcement? If we get enough good comments, I'll make a follow-up video compiling what everyone said. That's all for now, but be sure to subscribe to NinBuzz because we got a whole lot more content coming out real soon. If you want to see what other people are saying, be sure to keep watching. But until then guys, this is Fire, signing out.